At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that caring for the community means caring about the climate. You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world if we care enough. If we care enough. If we care enough. If we care enough. If we care enough.
KBLA Talk 1580. How you guys doing? Are we figuring it out? Are you ready to fill out your mail-in ballot? It's time to get ready. If you're not ready yet, it is time to figure it out, and we're here for you. Go to KBLA1580.com and you can find out. You can listen to conversations for yourself. It's not a slate, but you can find out for yourself. We have another candidate here who would like to be your LA County Superior Court judge. She's live with us in studio if you want to see her. She says she's proud to be running for Superior Court judge. She's got a lot of experience in the criminal justice system. She currently serves as a deputy district attorney grew up in South LA. She says that fuels her drive and commitment to serving the community. Georgia Huerta, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. And I'm on your website, right?
Oh, okay.
On my phone right now, and you tout, the breadth of your experience. 30 years as a deputy DA, 300 plus preliminary, pre and post trial hearings in the courtroom as a deputy district attorney, 80 jury trials, and 15,880 cases filed as a filing deputy, thousands of cases reviewed, on and on it goes. Why is this important for a judge?
I think it's important for a judge to have a breadth of experience with different types of cases and different types of situations. Each day, your calendar could be filled with all kinds of different situations. And I believe my experience as a deputy district attorney over the years in various positions has equipped me for that. As a filing deputy, which I currently am now, I in fact provide the caseload for the judges in the criminal courts. That's what they hear. The case is filed from the crime evaluation unit. So I think it's very important that a judge have a breadth of experience prior to taking the bench.
And I mean, and it is I see, you've worked, you spent a year in the Juvenile Division, 3 years in employee relations, 1 year workers' compensation fraud, 3 years in alternative sentencing and community collaborative court. But of course, all this is on the DA side. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting here looking at you. You're an African American woman. Not that we're a monolith, but why, is there ever any, and especially one from South LA, is there a push-pull for you as a prosecutor? You are on the, the lock 'em up side, and then you live in the community. So, is there ever a contradiction there for you?
Well, no, not for me, because I'm not on the lock 'em up side. I'm on the side for justice. That's why I became a deputy district attorney. When you live in South Central Los Angeles, you can witness the injustices for yourself. So I chose the path of working within the system to try to eliminate that implicit and explicit bias that starts from the beginning. And as you know, the Deputy District Attorney's Office is the gateway to the criminal justice system. Law enforcement arrests people, but they can't get them into the criminal justice system without a Deputy District Attorney. So I saw myself as a person from the community, who knew the community, who had witnessed injustices. So when cases were brought to me, I had, I think, a point of reference that maybe a lot of DAs did not have. I could read them. I could have, I believe, a better assessment of whether or not what's being told in the report is actually true. So even though they may think the DA is on the lock 'em up side, maybe some of them are, but I'm not.
How would you describe your temperament should you be elected judge? What's your judicial temperament?
I think I have a calming temperament. And, Dominique, I've learned over the years, you need to listen to people. You need to look at people. You need to listen to people. You need to try to determine, why are people there before you? What is it that they're trying to tell you? And then that can help you better do your job. It can help you better decide, okay, even as a DA, what cases should I be making? As a calendar deputy, what kind of offers should I be making? So I think my temperament is one of calmness, one of openness, one that wants to see justice done for everyone, and to treat people with dignity and respect. That's essential.
When you talk about implicit bias, I mean, what kinds of things can be done to address that and make sure that we really do have equal justice?
Well, first of all, I think you have to recognize it. As you said, I'm African American, and I can remember the first day I walked into my court, and I'd been a DA for a number of years with my hair in cornrows. The judge looked at me. That's an implicit bias. We have to be conscious. We all have bias. I know I do. But the important part of it is to recognize that you do have them, and do not allow them to interfere with you doing your job the right way. That's the only way that we're going to achieve justice. And some people don't believe that they have any biases, and you cannot have that attitude and sit on the bench.
You said service is important to you. What do you mean by that?
Service is important. What I mean by that is you have to care for the community. You have to care for the people in the community. As a deputy district attorney, and I'm quite sure I probably will do the same as a judge, every decision I made it thinking, how is it going to impact my community? And in saying that, what I meant is this case a good case for treatment and rehabilitation? Not everyone should be confined. You have to look at the situation. You have to realize where people come from and where they are. I spent a lot of my time in Compton, so a lot of my interactions were with Black and brown people. And since I'm Black and from a neighborhood that's Black at the time, I believe that that helped me to be able to help my community, because I knew treatment and rehabilitation was needed in many, many cases. And that's what I offered. However, in some cases, confinement was necessary. But then you still have to balance that. What's the length of confinement? Are you going to confine them forever? Or are you just going to confine them for 60 days? That's a big difference. And so that's what I mean when I say that I want to serve my community and to continue to serve them.
I'm going to say your endorsements are kind of confusing. You've got the Los Angeles Progressive, right, and Law Pack. But you also have the National Association of Blacks in Criminal Justice and the Association of Deputy District Attorneys. When I think of the Association of Deputy District Attorneys, I think of hard pushback on the progressive prosecuting agenda of the voters, as manifested by our current DA, George Gascon. I think of, more of what I would come to mind when I consider a prosecutor on the bench.
Well, that's our union.
Right.
And our union has fought the current deputy district attorney on many fronts.
The current district attorney.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
And not only that, I am a union person. I believe unions are essential to help make a better working condition for the people that they represent. So I do support unions. I do support what they do. I believe that employees need protection from their bosses if necessary. So when I have the endorsement of my union that I'm a member of, I see it as helping their members. I don't see it as pushback hardtail DAs.
You also have the East
Area?
Yeah, it's so tiny, the writing. East Area Progressive Democratic Club.
Yes.
And others. Any others you want to highlight?
And you mentioned LawPAC. LawPAC is an organization of Los Angeles African American women PAC that's dedicated to putting women of color into offices, into positions of authority and power. They're very active in the community. And not only do they just support judicial candidates, they support candidates on every level, including federal level, including our mayor. And I think that that's essential to be associated with an organization that's empowering. And I believe empowering. I believe empowering women and, of course, men, but also empowering women. And I believe that organization is great at doing that. As you can see, I have been endorsed by several Democratic clubs. And I'm proud of that because I like some of their mission statements. For example, voting. I think voting should not be curtailed. I think it should be expanded to be inclusive, to cover everyone. I believe in good education for everyone, regardless of where you live. I believe everybody should have health care, regardless of where you live.
Yeah.
So
you're in a tough race. I mean, maybe one of the tougher of the judicial contests, right? Because there's 3 folks running here.
Yeah.
LA Times endorsed one of your opponents, saying that he's the best of the 3 in the race. What's your response to that?
Well, of course, I differ with that. LA Times, they're entitled to their opinion, but I have my opinion as well. I am an experienced prosecutor. I am from the community from which I will serve. I believe that I have the necessary lived life experience. When you have a judge on the bench, you want a judge who has different types of experiences, culturally different types of experiences, diversity. And I believe I represent that. I believe that I would be an outstanding judge on the bench. I believe as a prosecutor, I have served my community. And you know what? I will continue to serve this community.
Well, you kind of just did it, but what's your closing argument why we should vote for Georgia Huerta for LA County Municipal Court Judge, and tell us how to track you?
I believe you should vote for me because I believe in the community. I grew up in South Central Los Angeles. I went to Manuel Arts High School. I went to Fauché. And not only that, the community has helped me and my family growing up. You know, my mom had 7 kids living by herself. I remember we had a terrible fire. We lost everything. My mother sitting on the sidewalk crying when I came home from school. And you know what? The community rallied around us. They found us a place to stay. They gave us furniture. They gave clothing for 7 children. So the community has been good to me. So that's why I chose this profession. And I believe I've been good and will continue to be good for my community. You can find me, of course, on my website that Mr. Prima referred to. So please visit it to learn a little bit more about me. It's Georgia Huerta for Judge 2024, and it's FOR 2024. I'm also on Instagram at Georgia Huerta for Judge 2024.
Is it FOR number 4?
No, FOR.
Georgia for Judge 2024. Okay.
And on Facebook for Georgia Huerta.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in. It's a
you.
pleasure to meet you, and
Yes.
good luck to you.
Yes, thank you so much.
You are listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to here with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do Black history every single day. In fact, as the only Black talk radio station west of the Mississippi, we are Black history. Our annual Black History Month luncheon is fast approaching, and we want to be sure to give you ample time to get your company, organization, church, or group to join us at this year's celebration on the last day of the month, Thursday, February 29th at noon. Last year, we honored iconic local Black media personalities, including Pat Harvey, Jim Hill, Mark Brown, Beverly White, Sandy Banks, and Pat Prescott, and raised $20,000 in scholarships. This year, we're honoring Black Hollywood creatives who have used their artistic genius as climate justice champions. At this year's luncheon, we will be showcasing and sharing their inspiring work on our big screen. Plus, a scrumptious meal, live music, great company, and lots of fun with your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts. So contact us today at info@smileyaudio.media.com or call 323-290-4690. That's info@smileyaudio.media.com or call 323-290-4690. We hope to see you Thursday, February 29th as we close out Black History Month. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your Black.
It's time to represent your community in the 2024 presidential primary election. When you vote, you get to decide what is best for you, your neighborhood, and your family. Use your power. Make a plan to vote today. Visit plan.lavote.gov. That's plan.lavote.gov to get everything you need to vote in the March 5th presidential primary election. Brought to you by the Los Angeles County Registrar.
When you use Bounce dryer sheets and your clothes look amazing, it's the sheet. Less static in your life? Yeah, it's the sheet. Smelling fresher than ever? It's the sheet. Oh, so soft fabric? Ooh la la. It's the sheet. Less wrinkles on your clothes? You know it's the sheet. Bounce dryer sheets. More freshness, more softness. Less static, less wrinkles. It's the sheet.
Some people just know the best places to eat around town. Those are the people who know to choose Allstate. They know exactly where to go to get exactly what you're wanting. They know where to find the spiciest hot pot, the gooeyest brownies, and the tenderest, most flavorful portobello steak. Those people also know that safe drivers save 40% with Allstate.
Saving 40% is based on the national average premium savings for Allstate auto customers with a clean driving record versus those without. Savings vary by state and vary based on how you buy, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
So much going on the national and the local landscape, trying to squeeze it in here between our candidates because for me, the top priority right now is our election. It's March 5th, the last day to vote. You can vote right now if you have your mail-in ballot. It is that time. And so, you know, we're prioritizing that. You can find them on our website, kbla1580.com. You can find the data from our polling of likely voters, black voters in LA County at kbla1580.com. And we're doing our best to get you prepared, help you. I feel like I've learned so much talking to these candidates for judge, and that's one area where we often don't have the information. So in between the beats, trying to keep you up to date on some of these stories, but also welcoming your thoughts, your impressions of what you've heard so far, if you've already voted, why you're so fired up. I mean, one of the things that I was really encouraged by regarding our KBLA Eviteris survey, our polling of black voters here in Los Angeles, is the level of enthusiasm. And this is not, it's kind of an off-brand, right? It's March. California's a blue state. There's just, Trump ain't going to win here, right? So the thing is, what are we fired up about? And from what we see in the survey, a lot of it has to do with the district attorney's race and public safety and our concerns about that. And so, to me, a natural extension of that is understanding and knowing about the judges, the people that want to be your judges. Meanwhile, speaking of judges, Fani Willis, the Fulton County DA, is going to be fighting for her own career, for her professional future. Today, it'll be decided whether or not she can stay on that case that she's worked so hard to bring, the election interference case in Georgia, the racketeering case against Trump. This is a hearing where a judge will look at the allegations around her alleged romantic relationship with Nathan Wade, who is an attorney that she hired to help work on this racketeering case, the election interference case against Trump in Georgia. The judge will have to decide whether one or both of them would be disqualified from working on the case, and the judge could even go as far as dismissing the whole case, which of course would be a huge victory for Donald Trump, because, I mean, think about this. This is probably one of the most threatening cases against him. It's in state court, so he couldn't pardon himself if he was reelected president. So this is a real threat to the former president. It's also super important because it addresses the big lie and the ways that the former president tried to steal the election by saying that it was stolen from him. I am really hoping that this judge will not throw away the 3 years of investigation and work to put together this case. And it's one of the reasons why I say, even though I feel like there is a targeting of black women in power right now, especially those who could present any kind of threat to the hegemony, and business as usual, white supremacy, and implicit bias and all of that. There's a piece of this which also goes to her personal responsibility, which is whatever decisions you made have now turned the case into all about you rather than all about the criminal, the alleged criminal in this case, the former president of the United States. And I hate that. And we don't know what happened. We don't know whether she was started seeing this guy after she gave him the job or before, and that's going to be really relevant here. And we don't know, how much of this is her making terrible choices and how much of it is her being targeted as a leader. But whether it's Claudine Gay, whether it's Marilyn Mosby, there's definitely a feeling of this targeting in intentional bringing down of black women. At the same time, you are working on the prosecution of a former president of the United States. You got to know that you have to be squeaky clean, beyond squeaky clean. So this is going to be a big deal. Fulton County Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee is really holding a disproportionate amount of the future of our nation in his hands right now. So as we listen to these folks who want to be LA County Superior Court judges, and you think, oh, I'll go eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I don't feel like doing the research, or I don't know where to look, or I'm not sure and I don't have time. I'm going to tell you, you can listen on your phone at KBLA1580.com. We have an election information hub there for you. You can listen if you're not sure about any race, but particularly judges. And I feel like this story of what is going down today with Fani Willis and Nathan Wade, attorney Nathan Wade, who she has admitted to being in a personal relationship with. This case should remind us how important the fairness and good judgment and expertise of these county judges really is, and judges on every level. So sad about the shooting at the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl celebration. I hate this story. I hate the ongoing scourge of gun violence in our country. And I've gotten to the point, I mean, I've been on the radio for so many years now. And I thank you for continuing to listen and, giving me this opportunity. I know that holding the microphone is a privilege, and I relish that privilege. But honestly, I don't know what to say anymore about these mass shootings, these public shootings. This Kansas City Chiefs victory parade becomes about a shooting and not a celebration. And I feel like we've talked ad nauseum about what we need to do. I am a big proponent of the Second Amendment. I am a big proponent of your right to bear arms. But I also don't understand why we can't have sensible measures that the majority of Americans do support without impeding on our 2A rights. How does background checks, how does banning assault weapons, how does red flag laws, how do those impede your Second Amendment rights? What will it take to get there? When can we stop having these conversations about gun violence in public spaces in this country? News, traffic, and sports, and then candidate attorney Christopher Darden joins us in studio straight ahead on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominic DePrima when we come forward.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. In Tennessee, new documents have been released related to the death of African-American Tyree Nichols at the hands of Memphis police. The city of Memphis says it includes personnel files and disciplinary records of the 5 officers charged in Nichols' death. There are also witness statements, crime scene documents, and more. 5 officers are facing murder charges after being accused of beating Nichols during a traffic stop last year. Consumer spending is down more than expected. The Commerce Department reported Thursday that retail sales fell 8% last month. The drop in retail sales comes after December saw a 0.4% jump during the holiday shopping season. It marks the worst month for retail sales since March of last year. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Don't miss huge savings on better sleep during Mattress Firm's President's Day sale. For a limited time, shop in store to score a Sleepy's Queen mattress for only $89.99. That's over 60% off and the lowest price ever. So hurry in today. This deal is only here while supplies last.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers and Clippers headed into the All-Star break with road wins last night. The Lakers beat Utah by 16. Anthony Davis had 37 points and 15 rebounds. Rui Hachimura dropped 36. LeBron did not play. He rested his sore left ankle. Third straight win for the Lakers. They're 4 games over 500 for the first time since December 15th. The Clippers had to finish last night's game in Golden State without Coach Ty Lue. He was ejected with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. The Clippers hung on to win by 5. 26 points and 7 assists for James Harden. Paul George had 24. The Clippers go into the All-Star break with the third best record in the Western Conference. They're a game and a half behind Minnesota for the top spot. Tiger Woods is back on the course today for the first time in 10 months. He's in town to compete in the Genesis Invitational at the Riviera Country Club in Pacific Palisades. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
LADWP is proud to partner with KBLA to share with you how to start the new year without bill worries. We're here to help if you're behind on your bill or need help staying current. Sign up anytime online for Level Pay to set predictable monthly payments throughout the year, including for past due amounts. You can also check out the special extended pay arrangements of up to 48 months to help pay down your bill. If you're a senior or income qualified, you may be eligible for Easy Save to receive discounts and also qualify for free and discounted energy and water saving devices. You can get up to $15,000 for past due water and or sewer bills and up to $3,000 for electric bills. But you gotta act fast. Funding is limited. You can reduce your past due bills and kick off the year right, because here at LADWP, we're here to help. Visit ladwp.com/cares today and find out more.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? We didn't think so. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive KBLA Talk 1580.
And there's a reason we call ourselves your election information station. We want you to be ready, and I want myself to be ready. And so go to KBLA1580.com. You can hear all of these conversations. You can hear them wherever you get your podcasts, and you can get them on our app. All of these various candidates. Today we're focused on folks who want to be LA County Superior Court judges. And I'm joined in studio by an attorney, a face you probably know, a well-known attorney, a best-selling author, law professor, and you probably know him for serving on the prosecutorial team of the OJ Simpson trial, but he's also a legal commentator, a community leader, and educator. He says he'll bring a diverse set of skills and unmatched experience to the bench. Attorney Christopher Darden, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, you know, you've been doing this a long time.
Yes.
And obviously, as a judge, it's kind of like being the opposite of being a pundit, right? You got to be quiet, don't say your opinion, and be completely unbiased. Seems like a pretty extreme step from one job to another. Why go to the bench?
Well, it's not an extreme step at all, at least not for me. You know, I've been a lawyer for 44 years. I passed the bar in 1980, and I spent 16 years as a prosecutor and 25 years doing civil rights litigation and criminal law defense. And, you know, I have a perspective that few other lawyers ever have or get to have because of my longevity and because of my experience in practice and because of I've studied the law and I've taught the law and I continue to teach the law to students. And I think that we're at a time, at a point where the criminal law is really, well, in chaos, in crisis. We've enacted reform on the one hand, and it has worked great in some aspects, and other aspects not so great. And I think we're at a point where we're trying to figure out and decide, what do we do? Do we continue with the progressive model, or do we go back and do things the way we used to do?
Right.
And I'm all for going forward. I'm all for taking the best of the past and the greatness in what we have now on the books. And not every judge and not every lawyer agrees with that. And so I think that if we want to continue to make sure that the new reform laws are implemented and carried out in court. I think we need judges who are progressive and who understand these laws, the reason for these new laws. And I'm that guy.
When you say the best of the past, I mean, what are you talking about? Like, we've been talking a lot this morning about things like enhancements, which have been such a hot button issue, right?
Not necessarily one of the best things of the past. Absolutely. I mean, we have so many issues. The issue of bail.
Right.
It's been discriminatory. It's been discriminating against poor people since the beginning of time. So that is one of the issues that may not be such a great part of the past because it has a discriminatory effect.
Right. Well, like many of our policies. So what is the good part then?
Well, one of the best things that has happened is that last July, the legislature they had enacted a law that allows your criminal records to be sealed. Criminal records are being sealed without application, without petition, for folks convicted of felonies and misdemeanors. For folks who were arrested and not charged, these records are being sealed. And it's going to allow a lot of people in our community to move forward with their lives without necessarily having to carry old criminal conduct and old convictions from 10 and 20 and 30 years ago. And that is a beautiful thing.
The reason I'm smiling because so far everything you've cited from the past has not been from the past. Like what is the stuff
new.
That you I know. So
Right.
what is the stuff that you want to keep from days of old?
Well, I think we have to pay attention to community safety. We have to pay attention
And what does that
to
look like?
community safety. And what that looks like to me is this, is that when we consider a defendant and what the sentence ought to be, I think we have to take some things into consideration. The individual characteristics of that particular defendant. Not just look at the statute, but look at the person. I think we have to take into consideration the victims and their interests, because victims have rights too. And I think you have to take into consideration community safety. This doesn't mean oppressive rules or the implementation of oppressive enhancements, which I've always felt were heavy-handed and in some ways unfair. But it means taking, the best and the best of the future that the future has to offer. We have lacked, I think, fundamental fairness in a lot of ways in the criminal law over the past years. And I've been sitting here looking at this since 1981, when 3 strikes became a law. I've been sitting in court over the years watching folks who are addicted, who have an old strike, but now have 1 balloon of heroin or 1 small piece of crack cocaine, do 32 months in prison. I've watched us criminalize addiction and punish that addiction with prison sentences. Old things that we don't need to take forward into the future. I am hopeful and optimistic at the possibility of the law evolving in a way that considers not just the plight of the individual defendant, but the plight of the individual defendant's family and the impact it has on the community. We create foster children.
Yep.
We create foster children in the criminal justice system, and we imprison people who are mentally ill. And we never really take the time to stop and ask, what impact or effect did this individual's mental illness have on his, her, or their criminal conduct?
Right. I mean, so it sounds like what you're telling me is you've got the experience as a prosecutor, obviously famously in the OJ case. You've got the experience as a attorney in private practice, defending people. At one point, you were defending Eric Holder, who was the guy accused of killing Nipsey Hussle.
The guy that did kill.
Yeah.
Nipsey
Well,
Hussle.
convicted right now. Yeah.
Well, he did it.
Right. But I'm not really, and I'm looking at your endorsements. You've got, Gil Garcetti, who's not exactly known as being a progressive DA, but you also have, the LA County Federation of Labor, and you've got Knock LA, I think.
Yeah.
LA Times endorsed one of your opponents. So, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is we can't be all things to all people. So how would you describe yourself?
I would describe myself as a progressive. And I am a progressive. And I always have been a progressive. I am not the establishment candidate. I'm not the establishment candidate. But, lurking in the shadows are, some deputy district attorneys that are running for judge. Why are they running for judge now? Because they're running from Gascon. They're running from the new laws and reform. They're running from restorative justice, and they're running to the bench. So what will we vote for? Do you want to vote to do things the same way we've always done them? Do we want to just continue churning up that prison pipeline? Or are you willing, like I'm willing, to look at things new and different and from a whole new perspective? We have to keep our community safe, and people have to be held accountable when they commit crimes.
When you one of the cases that you worked on was the case of Ed Buck, which I, followed closely from beginning to end because it was just really a terrible, terrible story.
Probably the worst case I've ever worked on.
And everybody deserves representation. I get that.
Yes.
You've also been very vocal about being an advocate for victims, and that victims have rights too.
Yes.
But in that case, you're representing the predator. You're representing the killer. And in that case, you've been criticized by folks who worked in that space as in advocacy for saying that Jamel Moore, one of the victims, did not die from drug overdose, but died from his own HIV positive status. Some see that as an attack on a victim and going beyond the pale of what's...
Well, I don't know why. First of all, I didn't say that. Okay, but it was said in court. Okay.
It was part of the defense.
It was part of the defense.
Which you oversaw.
Which I participated in, absolutely,
right.
Positively. And it was what was done. And it wasn't because I'm an expert in HIV or an autopsy surgeon or in deciding what the cause of death is. It is because a skilled pathologist formed that opinion. And so when you're a defense attorney and you have an expert who says that this is the issue or the question, what do I do as a defense attorney? Do I say no? What do I do when my client wants this defense asserted? What has the U.S. Supreme Court said? It says I assert it. So it's not something that I made up. Not at all. But a doctor did testify to that. Now,
yeah, I mean, but we can get doctors to testify to anything.
Well,
I mean, we saw that in George Floyd. Oh, he didn't die from the guy standing on his neck.
I can't. And I didn't get that one to do that. In fact, another lawyer handled that witness. I never interviewed that witness or spoke to that witness before he testified. But, this is the thing, though, criminalizing defense attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I go
what
to
does
church.
That mean?
Well, that means that, hey, we don't like who you represented.
Right.
We don't like that you stood up for this individual's right to a fair trial, due process.
I mean, the only reason I'm laughing is because you've been on both sides of this conversation because a lot of people were, I'm sure, mad. And you have to go way back to context of the, the OJ trial.
Right.
Because you were prosecuting OJ, and, a lot of people didn't like that, to see a black attorney in that position.
Right.
And now, so you've been criticized for being a prosecutor and for defending folks, but I mean, we do make choices as professionals in any field, right?
We do make choices. My choice is to uphold the Constitution, to uphold your Sixth Amendment right to effective assistance of counsel, your due process right to a fair trial. And let me tell you, that's the attitude that I have today, that everyone is entitled to a defense and a fair trial. And that is the attitude that I will carry to the bench. You see, I'm not here to judge anyone. I go to church.
Not yet. You're going to be a judge.
No, I'm going to judge conduct. I'm not here to make judgments about people.
So you're making a distinction between judging a person for who they are and judging the person's behavior.
Exactly. And so as a lawyer, I'm not just a lawyer. I am a warrior for justice. I'm a warrior for the Constitution. That's what I stand up for. And when people criticize me, who I represent or whatever, the bottom line is this. When your time comes, when your son is sitting in that hot seat and nobody will come, when no good lawyer will come to defend your child, I will come. And I will come not because of politics, and I'll come despite the criticism. I'll come because it's the right thing to do. It is the right thing to do.
You, we've had the conversation I have about how more African American people, more Latino people are now striving to become judges.
Yes.
What difference does that make?
I think it makes a huge difference when you have people on the bench who have some understanding of your journey as a litigant or as a defendant. I think it makes a huge difference. I think when I can relate to the defendant, it helps me have empathy. And I think empathy and mercy are a couple of elements that are missing in the criminal law, and I think they ought to be present. Not every person that commits a crime is a terrible person. People make mistakes. People act out of emotion. People do things that are beyond the norm for them. And I think that we have to take those kinds of things into consideration.
Attorney Christopher Darden, give me your elevator pitch. Why should I vote Darden for Municipal Court Judge Seat 130?
Well, number one, because I have courage, and I've proven it time and time again. And you know that with me sitting on the bench, you know that I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to follow the law. I'm going to do the right thing despite criticism, despite the political winds of the day, despite what really outside forces, political forces, would otherwise want me to do. I'm going to do the right thing, and I'm going to treat people with respect and dignity, and I'm going to allow the people that come before me the opportunity to speak and to be heard, and I'm going to be looking out for people as well. I'm not going to sit there and watch someone come into court mentally ill and watch this person plead guilty. I'm not going to let people come into court before me and not at least be referred to or somehow obtain the services that they necessarily need so that they can get themselves and their lives together. I've sent people to prison. I've prevented a lot of other people from going to prison. I think that I have a unique perspective that no other candidate has. Who else has done all of the things that I've done in the law? Which candidate? None. They're not even close, not even remotely close.
Christopher Darden, tell us how to track you. Are you on social media? Are you? I know you have your website, Christopher Darden for Judge, FOR.com.
Yes, Christopher Darden, FOR Judge, Christopher Darden for Judge.com.
Okay, thank you so much for coming in. It's a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you for this very tough interview.
Was it tough?
I loved it.
All right.
And thank you,
Maybe I should
KBLA.
be a lawyer.
You should run for judge.
Not going to happen. KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. Visit jpmorganchase.com/racial equity and get the tools to help reach your financial goals.
KBLA Talk 1580 is the exclusive media sponsor of This Light of Ours, activist photographers of the Civil Rights Movement. A dynamic new exhibition on view now at the Skirball Cultural Center in Los Angeles. This Light of Ours showcases more than 150 photos taken by movement insiders from diverse backgrounds that reveal the vital work undertaken by a broad coalition of organizers and everyday people whose collective action changed America. This Light of Ours is one of 3 temporary exhibitions currently on view at the Skirball, which together explore issues related to civil rights, immigration, and pluralism. Tickets and more information for all 3 exhibitions are available at skirball.org. That's skirball.org. SKIRBALL.org.
Oh, this cold.
Honey?
Honey?
Honey, you need DayQuil Severe Honey.
DayQuil Severe Honey gives you powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a honeylicious taste, because life doesn't stop for a cold.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
Now I'm getting a cold.
Honey.
Try DayQuil Severe Honey for powerful cold and flu relief. DayQuil Severe with honey flavor. The daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, honeylicious, power through your day medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. Pro Football Hall of Famer and urban peace pioneer Jim Brown believed in just that. So he founded the Amera I Can Foundation for Social Change in 1988, focusing on at-risk and high-risk youth in underserved schools and juvenile detention facilities, as well as adult incarceration and reentry initiatives. The core of the Amera I Can program is its 15-chapter life skills curriculum. Mastery of these skills allows individuals to meet their academic potential, conform their behavior to acceptable societal standards, and improve the quality of their lives by equipping them with what they need to confidently and successfully contribute to society. Today, the foundation is led by its president, Monique Brown, who has been actively involved in the organization for more than 25 years. The Amera I Can Foundation continues its work in memory of its founder, actor, philanthropist, and NFL legend Jim Brown. To get involved or make a donation, please visit AmeriCanCommunity.partners. That's AmeriCanCommunity.partners. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Why settle for ordinary when you can have extraordinary hair? Visit your local SoCal FS Cut and Color Salon today and let their team of expert stylists pamper you with affordable luxury. Get a free shampoo with every cut. Book your appointment today at fantasticsams.com.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
The conversation continues right now with Dominic DePrima on First Things First.
Oh my, what a week and what a day. Yes, indeed. I talked to a bunch of people today who are seeking your vote for LA County Superior Court Judge. And I think that really hearing firsthand from them, getting beyond just endorsements, slogans, even, what does the LA Times say versus, the LA Sentinel, or what does the polling say? It's just actually sitting face to face or listening to words straight out of their mouths makes a huge difference. And I didn't even realize it until I started this project about 8 years ago of really looking at the candidates for judge. that it's not even, sure, we're going to miss some things, and sometimes we won't be experts. But when you talk to a person and you hear how they describe what they're trying to do, it really does make a difference. It certainly influenced me on every single election. I have these conversations. Sometimes I go back and listen to myself again. You can find them all on KBLA 1580. Did I hear that right? And then I mark my ballot. I mark my ballot because we find really revealing and important things about these folks that are going to have such a huge impact in our lives. Whether you are ever on in a courtroom yourself or not, setting policies, making decisions about whether or not laws are constitutional, and the like. So I'm amazed at what I learn and what there is to be learned. And you can hear all of these wherever you get your podcasts. And there's a lot more stuff there too. There's, if you need a palate cleanser after listening to all of these district attorney candidates and all of these judge candidates, and certainly hot races like California Senate District 35 to replace Steve Bradford, who's been such a champion for reparations and such a champion for our community. These are careful decisions that have to be made. You can find them all at KBLA1580.com. While you're there, take a moment, if you don't mind, fill out our climate survey. These things make an impact, and we appreciate you for doing it. If you missed, for example, my conversation with Daimeo Arosena or Corinne Bailey Ray, they're available wherever you get your podcasts. If you missed my conversation with DA George Gascon on yesterday, again, available wherever you get your podcasts and also at KBLA1580.com. As usual, Tavis Smiley coming up next. As usual, he's got a great lineup for you. And I want to just thank you for being part of our KBLA Talk 1580 delegation. We've got Freedman Friday tomorrow. We're also going to be hearing from Congressman Adam Schiff, who is in the hunt to become the next U.S. Senator from the state of California. And, of course, my friend Sherry Bell will be by my side as well. Tomorrow is a screening at the Pan-African Film Festival of the film about the life of my father. It's called Sing, Fight, Sing. I will be there to speak on the panel with the director afterwards, so hopefully you'll join us there. Go to PAFF.org. Ending with a quote from my dad. He says, "A man is either free or he is not free. There can be no apprenticeship for freedom." That's Amiri Baraka. Until tomorrow, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa
Memphis says it includes personnel files and disciplinary records of the 5 officers charged in Nichols' death. There are also witnesses